Yes, I do. Kashif.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الدين عند الله الإسلام. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: المسلم من سلم المسلمون من لسانه ويده، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. رواه مسلم. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم، ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. رب زدني علما. Before we start, the brothers are requested, inshallah, if they can stand up in their lines. So if there are any gaps, we can fill them up, inshallah. We just stand up in our lines, and if there is any space in front of us, please move forward. Ji brothers, if you can quickly move up, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. My respected elders and brothers, the hadith that I recited in front of you is the hadith of Muslim. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to the nearest meaning, Al-Muslim. Who is a Muslim? Man salim al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi. A Muslim is one that other Muslims are safe from the harm of his limbs and from the harm of his tongue. This is a very famous hadith. Every once in a while we hear it. But to understand this hadith, we need to understand two underlying concepts. There are certain ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that ulama have classified as jawami'ul kalim. Jawami' is the plural of jami', which means comprehensive. Kalim is the plural of kalima, which means a sentence. So jawami'ul kalim, comprehensive sentences of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The sentence might be short in size, 5, 6, 7 words, but it will pack an ocean of knowledge in it. These are the meanings of Jawami'ul Kalim. So this hadith is one of the Jawami'ul Kalim of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What are the two underlying concepts to understand this hadith? Apparently, it looks simple, that a Muslim is one, that other Muslims are safe from the harm of his limbs and from the harm of his tongue. The first thing to understand is there are two concepts in this world. One concept says faith is different. Don't mix it up with everyday life. Faith is is limited to masjids, synagogue, churches, temples. Don't bring it out in your everyday life. We respect whatever, this is a free country, whatever a person's concept and belief is. But the opposite of this is certain religions, certain nations, certain communities say no. Faith is part of your life. Faith guides you at each and every point of your life. You cannot separate faith from everyday life. Once we understand these two concepts existent in the world today, the question comes, what is the concept of Islam? So the concept of Islam is the second concept. Faith cannot be separated from everyday life. Islam tells you how to walk on the street. Islam tells you how to go to sleep. Islam tells you how to eat. Islam tells you how to take a shower. Islam teaches you the ethics of business. Islam teaches you the ethics of neighborhood. Islam tells you what are the rights of the guest. Each and every phase of our life, from the morning till the evening, since a child comes out and is delivered from the womb of the mother, until he or she lands in his or her grave, Islam has its teachings. So that's why it is said, the famous sentence in this country, Islam is not a religion. Islam is not just a religion, it's a way of life. So this is the first concept to understand. Then inshallah we'll fully understand this hadith. That faith guides us at every point of our life. We cannot separate. If a believer, if a Muslim has this concept that deen is only related to the masjid, deen is only limited to Ramadan, deen is only limited to the 10 days package of Hajj when you go for Hajj, so this is a grave misconception. This is a very huge misconception that will lead him astray in his life. Second concept to understand is, what is the dalil? What is the evidence that Islam is a way of life? So now the logical answer to this is, open up any book of fiqh. I'm not talking about ibadats, acts of worship. Open up a book of fiqh that has the rulings of everyday life, since the time you are born until the time you die. 25% of the book will only cover ibadat, acts of worship. 75% of that book will cover your social ethics and your dealings. So what does it teach us? That Islam has a direction for each and every department of life. Second dalil and evidence of this, that Islam is a complete way of life. If a person prays salah, but his business is not according to deen, if a person does hajj, but his dealing with other Muslims and non-Muslims are not according to deen, he's an incomplete Muslim in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't mean to offend anyone. If a person, let's make it easy. All the commands of deen are divided into 5 categories. All the commands of the Quran and the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam are divided into 5 categories. Aqaid, what we say in English as beliefs, imaniyat. Second category, acts of worship, ibadat. Third category, dealings, ma'amalat. Fourth category, social life, ma'asharat. And the fifth category, ethics, akhlaqiyat. So all the commands of deen can be encompassed into these 5 categories. I'll elaborate inshallah 30 seconds on each. So if me and you are striving, nobody's perfect. If striving for all these 5 categories of deen, in the sight of Allah, I am a complete Muslim, you are a complete Muslim. And if I and you don't understand that Islam is divided into these 5 categories and we don't strive for it, We are Muslims. Nobody is saying we would leave the fold of Islam. But you are an incomplete, I am an incomplete Muslim in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To you, I might be an imam and the resident scholar of this masjid. But what is my status in the sight of Allah, I don't know. Maybe I am nothing in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because He knows my each and every second of my life. What are my beliefs? How I strive. Okay. So once we understand these two concepts, that Islam is a whole package, your dealings, your walking, your talking, your transactions, everything should be according to deen, and at least we should strive for it, then we would understand this hadith that a Muslim is one, that other Muslims are safe from the harm of his tongue and from the harm of his limbs. Okay. This tells us, once again, it's an example. It tells us a person might be praying 5 times salahs a day. A person might be mostly in the masjid, meaning in all the salahs. A person might be going for Hajj, alhamdulillah, every year. A person might be the first amongst the people who stand up when the fundraiser is in their locality. A person supports most of the avenues of Allah's deen, but maybe his business is not 100% halal. It mixes up with haram. Maybe he snatches the rights of others. Maybe he deceives people. Okay. So now, ibadat is perfect. Spending in the path of Allah is perfect. But mu'amalat's dealings are wrong. So he's an incomplete Muslim in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this shortage or this deficiency of mu'amalats affects your ibadats also. Deficiency of ibadat doesn't affect your mu'amalat, but deficiency of dealings has a negative impact on your salah, your first saf, your tahajjud, your money, your hajj, and your fasting and everything. I'll give an example. Let me elaborate on the 5 categories. Now, this is an ongoing topic. It's a series for a while. Whenever the turn comes, inshallah, we'll continue. So, the first category is aqa'id, beliefs. What are the beliefs? The hadith said, Rasulullah ﷺ was inquired, Mal iman? What is the definition of iman? Amantu billahi wa malaikati. I believe in Allah and His angels, wa kutubi, and His books, wa rusuli, and His prophets and messengers, wal yawm al-akhir, and the day of judge, and the last day that the world will come to an end, wal qadri khayrihi wa sharrihi min Allah ta'ala. Destiny, good and bad, is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal ba'th ba'd al-maut. Resurrection after death. This is what we call the articles of faith. This is a definition of iman. So these are our aqaids. We should have a set of beliefs regarding the prophets. We should have a set of beliefs regarding the day of judgment. We should have a set of beliefs regarding our destiny. We should have a set of beliefs regarding Allah and His qualities. This is imaniyat. This is aqaid. This is beliefs. Second, ibadat, salah, fasting in Ramadan, hajj, zakat, help fulfilling the rights of others. These are ibadats, acts of worship. Third category, ma'amalat, your dealings with a Muslim, your dealings with a non-Muslim, your dealings with your teacher, your dealings with your brother and your sisters. Any type of transaction, this is ma'amalat, this is under the category of dealings. Fourth category, ma'asharat, social life. How do you live at home? How do you live amongst your parents and your siblings? How much do you fulfill the rights of the neighbors? How are you with your elders and with your youngsters? How is your life in the masjid? What are the rights of the people who are standing in the line on the subway station or the bus station? What are the rights of the people who sit beside you on the seat in the subway or in the bus? Islam highlights this also. So this is ma'asharat, social life. And the last is ethics, akhlaqiyat, inner ethics. I'm making sure I don't have jealousy, I don't have arrogance, I don't have malice and grudge against another Muslim brother or sister. Okay? I do not hate another Muslim brother or sister without a valid reason. Sincerity, generosity, humbleness, all these are the good ethics and are within the fifth category. So if these 5 categories are there, alhamdulillah, we are trying to do something. Returning back on the last sentence that I said, that deficiency in ma'amalat, dealings, I'm using simultaneous words in Arabic, Urdu, and English so everybody understands. Dealings is in English, ma'amalats is in Arabic and Urdu. So dealings and ma'amalats, deficiency in this category, whether you are a shopkeeper, whether you are a businessman, whether you are a manager and 40 people work under you, no matter whatever your position is, if there is problem in your dealings, this will affect your salah also. How? What is the evidence for this? The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Inna Allah tayyibun, la yaqbalu illa tayyiba." Allah is pure, and Allah does not accept anything but pure. So halal money is pure, haram money, whatever the different forms are, is impure. Halal foods that Allah has made tayyib in the Quran and the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam are pure. And haram foods, whether they are haram by themselves or because of haram ingredients being mixed up with halal food makes them haram. Either way, both are included in it. This is impure. So if I am fasting the whole day in Ramadan and my income is not halal and I open up my fast with haram money, where will my fast go? You can go and ask any mufti, he'll give you the answer of this. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says a person wears ihram and he comes on his conveyance and he says, "Labbaik Allahumma labbaik." The angels replied, "Labbaik wa sa'daik." Your labbaik is accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a person whose unfortunately income is haram and he wears ihram, and then he says, "Labbaik Allahumma labbaik." The angels replies, "La labbaik wa la sa'daik." Your labbaik is not accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Zayn al-Abidin, the grandson of Ali radiallahu an, whenever he used to wear ihram and he used to say labbaik, he would tremble and he would faint. The first time he would say labbaik, it's written in the books. He would turn pale and tremble and he would become unconscious. People would ask him, "Why do you become unconscious?" He would say, "I am not sure whether Allah will accept my labbaik or not." So the deficiency in ma'amalats affects your salah, our salah also, our ibadats also, our fasting also, our hajj also. If our sources are not, I'm just giving an example. We'll go into details inshallah. If the sources are not halal, the problem is with our entire life. So this is what it means that Islam is a complete way of life. So the first lesson the lesson and the gist of today's conversation is we need to understand that Islam has 5 categories, and trying and exerting effort in all the 5 categories are required. If we are discarding one category, we are considered an incomplete Muslim in the sight of Allah. That's why the hadith says you might be praying salah, you might be giving charity, but you are hurting other people with your tongue. The hadith says, and without references, just to digress, time is less, Rasulullah was told about 2 different women folk. One Muslim, one lady, one Muslimah, she prays tahajjud also. And she prays salah also. She's very good in nawafil, but her tongue is really bad. She breaks the heart of other people. And another woman, that she doesn't pray so many nawafil. She doesn't do so many extra charity acts, but she is nice with her neighbors. Her tongue is good. Rasulullah said the second woman will be in Jannah. So this is the damage that because of the harm and the hurt we cause to other people, whether it's by his hands, it's our hands, or our tongue, or our dealings. Whatever was said and heard, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding of these things. Ameen.